If I may, I'd like to repeat the words of the opening prayer for Mass. Is that okay? O God, who manifest your almighty power above all by pardoning and showing mercy, bestow, we pray, your grace abundantly upon us, and make those hastening to attain your promises heirs to the treasures of heaven. I'm really struck by the words of this prayer. In fact, what's happened over the last little while is summed up in the words of this prayer. If any of you have come to confession to me recently, then you have received a penance, most probably, that comes right out of this prayer. Because the penance that I have been giving for a little while during confession is to please take a few minutes that day, reflect upon all of the gracings and the blessings that God has poured into your life, and give thanks for each and every bit of it. Because the grateful heart is the heart that can change the world. It's only when we have that attitude of gratitude that we really are accepting the graces and the blessings that come to us, and are in fact giving those very same graces and blessings to our families, to our co-workers, to our companions in class, to the world. And in that spirit of gratitude today, I'd like for you to pick up those finance reports, that State of the Parish report that is in the pew rack in front of you. One side is in Spanish, flip it over, and the other side is in English. And I'm not going to read this report to you, but I would like to make some comments as we kind of quickly flip through it. This should not take less than an hour and a half. Just the report. That doesn't say anything about the rest of Mass. On page 2, down toward the bottom of the page, bottom half of the page, I have over the last little while had people come to me and point out that Mass attendance at 9 o'clock is way down compared to what we had at 8 and 10. And if you'll take a look at the report there, you'll find out that Mass attendance is up in all of the English Masses, the current English Masses. And I'm very pleased with that. Thank you very, very much. Some of the people who were going to 8 o'clock are here tonight. Some of those who were at 10 o'clock are coming at 5 o'clock on Sunday, but a great majority of those people are still at the 9 o'clock Mass on Sunday morning. So thank you for the parish. And if you go to page 3, the top half of the page, and if you'll look under the big picture, expenses, it says ministries, salaries and expenses. And you'll see that the actual figures for this past fiscal year exceeded what was budgeted by about $50,000. We did not miss budget, but what did happen is there were some increases in payroll taxes that we were not aware of, And the Archdiocese is trying to adjust the clergy retirement fund, so all of us were hit with a little bit larger bill than we expected. I'm just pointing those things out because I think it's very, very important that we as a parish be as transparent as possible when it comes to the monies that we bring in and what is spent. You'll notice at the bottom of that, at the end of that actuals column, it says total operating revenue versus operating expenses. And you'll see that even though those expenses were $50,000 more than we expected, we were only short at the end of the year, the fiscal year, by about $5,500. And that money was made up in other donations that came into the parish to assist us in our work here and in the ministry that we do, not only inside our parish boundaries, but in the greater Clear Lake area. One thing I've noticed, and I don't have exact figures about all of this, but there are a lot of $1 bills in all of our collections. And it occurred to me the other day that if all of those $1 bills became fives, God, we'd have no problem. You could send me on vacation or something. But it'd be wonderful. Just think about that, because to go from 1 to 5 is not a tremendous jump. If you'll look at the middle of page 3, 2016, the other revenue. And I am never cease to be absolutely amazed at the generosity of our parish, of you. We always budget $72,000 for St. Vincent de Paul. And every penny that comes in directed to St. Vincent de Paul goes immediately to St. Vincent de Paul, so it doesn't get used to get paid to pay bills or anything like that. Every year you exceed that $72,000 by an incredible amount of money. This, in fiscal year 2016, over $80,000 that we gave as a parish to support the mission of our St. Vincent de Paul Society, who helps people from all over this area with food, with medicine, with rent assistance, with the needs of day-to-day living. And just because we're really comfortable in our homes does not mean that others are as well. So it's extremely important to us as Catholic Christians that we are reaching out to tend to those who simply do not have what they need. I thank you immensely for your generosity in that regard. Down at the bottom of page 3, the daily picture. We put this in to the report this year so that you would have an idea of what it cost to keep this parish plant running on a monthly basis and on an annual basis. It takes a lot of money, and it does because we're really an active parish, a very active parish. Our facilities, these buildings, are being used close to 24 hours a day. Certainly 24 hours a day if we think about the chapel and adoration there around the clock. So if you'll turn to page 4. At the very top of that page, I wanted to point out credit card fees, because some people, what in the world does a church have credit card fees for? Because we try desperately to make your life as easy as we can. So we have a credit card machine there at the front desk, and every time you use your card, it costs us. to the tune of $7,000 a year. But we do that because you have asked for it. You want that convenience, and it's being supplied for you. If you'll take a look at waste and trash disposal, I just want to make something just happened. I'm very, very excited about this. We have had an old blue dumpster back there which collects all of the trash, all of the awful, horrible trash. We've just brought in a nice green dumpster, which is there only for recyclables, not for chicken bones, not for the old corn cobs, but it's there for the stuff that can be recycled. And if you have the opportunity to carry out the trash here, please be sure that you're putting it into the right dumpster so that we don't get fined. As it is, we've been making countless trips down to the recycling center at Ellington to carry all that paper, all that plastic, all those bottles, all that carton. This is going to save us money if they can come here and pick it up. Okay? Big issue for the parish is the very next item on page 4, the building loan. Before I even get into it, I want to thank you. 5.5 years ago, our debt was $5.2 million. Today, at the end of the fiscal year, it was $3.3 million. I sweat, I don't sleep at night, I worry, I chew my lip thinking about this debt. And not too long ago, the priest in the deanery meeting asked me about how we were doing. And when I told him that we had paid $2 million over the last 5 years, they stood up and applauded and said, "Wencil, that's remarkable." So would you turn to the person next to you, shake hands with that person, and say thank you? Because you're the ones who are doing it. And I am so very, very pleased. When I stopped to think about that, $2 million? You know, I grew up where sometimes we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and $2 million, that's a little bit of change. So thank you. We're getting there. The question becomes, how do we sustain our giving and our paying of that debt? Now, there's some detail there. I don't think I need to go through and explain all of it, but in 12 months' time, we were actually short about $57,000 to make all of those monthly payments. And when that happens, we have to look for other areas where we can pull that money and make that payment. So consequently, if you come here for a program that has been canceled, that's what happened to it. We just didn't have the money that we needed to provide that service. That doesn't mean that the program is gone forever. It could come back, but we are bound and we have to pay that monthly note for our debt. Below that are some absolutely amazing things that have happened. Last year, we overpaid our Diocesan Services Fund appeal by about $14,000. So we got back $7,000, which we put toward the principal of the note. That was a very good thing. Thank you. The Marianas every year do a major dinner, a Café Mariana. And this past year, they gave the parish $7,000 out of their proceeds so that that money could go toward paying the principal of the note. The trivia night that we just had a couple of weeks ago, wonderful fun. First time ever that we've done that I'm aware of. And they brought in $1,500, which went toward the principal of the note. Mary's Peace Garden in the back, which our young people took it upon themselves to redesign, redo, and to sell bricks. Look at that. We were able, because of their offerings, their work, to make a payment of $150,000 toward the principal of our loan. And then one of our parishioners who lived next door to the rectory, when he died, Mr. Leonard Bomboy, he deeded to us his home. It took a little bit to clean it up and to prepare it for sale, but that home has been sold. Father Jim Bradley bought it and is having it renovated for himself in his wheelchair. All of that gave us approximately $120,000, which we put into a maintenance reserve here, but we also made an additional payment toward the note that we owe. When we make a payment to the principal, we are reducing the term of the loan, so it won't be so long in getting paid off, and that ultimately is reducing our interest charges from the diocese. And to date, it looks like when we made the $150,000 payment from the brick garden, the Peace Garden, we actually saved $36,000 in interest. So every time we make a payment to the note to the principal, we're saving ourselves money. Again, thank you. If you'll look at the Diocesan Services Fund, this year we still owe about $30,000 for this year, and that has to be paid by December the 31st, or it becomes part of our parish debt. So if you have not completed your pledge to DSF, I strongly encourage you to do so. As it stands, even if we do complete our pledges, we're still going to owe, $19,000. So we need some people to step up to the plate. And then there is a list at the bottom of page 4 and the top of page 5 of items, maintenance items that have been accomplished here over the last year. And they were done primarily with volunteer labor from the parish, and in many cases, parishioners volunteering and donating the materials to do that. And all of that saved the parish about $32,000. I'm very, very grateful to our volunteers who do so much work, not only physical labor, but in there teaching our CCE classes, coming in and counting collection in the office, helping make copies. Wonderful lady was in the office yesterday making copies all day for our CCE program. You know, this is work that has to be done, but because we are so tight in the office, we can't take the time to do it. It's really a lot of work. Then, if you'll look under the festival, you'll see there what's happened with the festival over the last 3 years. And in 2015, I just want to note to you, we did all of that in spite of very heavy rains. It was awful outside, and we moved everything inside, and look how well we did. Again, because people are truly committed and truly working hard to get it all accomplished. And then we've listed some of the items that we'd like to take care of, maintenance items, with the proceeds from this year's festival, which we haven't had yet, but that's coming up at the end of October, and it's very, very important that all of us be participating and selling raffle tickets so that we make that money necessary to accomplish all of these things. We truly have been blessed and graced. We have received full measures of God's mercy. And we show our gratitude by reaching in deep and giving of ourselves so that others can enjoy what we have. People come all the time just to stand in this church and to look and revel in its beauty. And the Delta room, which houses our space memorabilia, I think somewhere somebody put up a sign about that, because people come in and they just ask, can I see that room? And they'll spend quite a while in there looking around, giving thanks for all that has been accomplished here. I am very, very grateful to all of you. And I give thanks for you daily. So if we keep working together, one of these days you're not going to hear this report. What you'll hear is that we've chosen to put in another parking lot or something along that line, things that are very needed. But again, thank you immensely. And I ask you, please, if you will, to leave these reports in the pew racks for Masses tomorrow. Many people like to have a copy of this, and you certainly are free to take one, but if you would, come back and get it next week or during the week from the Welcome Center. If you take them tonight, then we're going to spend money printing new ones for tomorrow. Okay? Capiche? I que capiche. How wonderful. Thank you. God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Yes, He is.